It's your girl Cadillac. Yes, I'm Cadillac Dixon. I'm the drama like prison wife. I'm legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice. Helping. Girl, because you got to hold your breath for justice. To see justice before all face to black. Yes, it's your girl Cadillac. Anyways, guys, I'm coming through today. February the 13th, 2026, right? Oh, wow. So it's Friday the 13th. So they're going to be playing the movies everywhere. But to me, it feels like Saturday. I don't know. But girl, anyways, not really believing in all of that, but just taken aback that, oh, today is Friday the 13th, right? Okay. So anyway, I came to tell you about something more scary, girl. More scary, girl. They took our music. That's our art form, right? And they used it as a weapon against our youth in our communities, allegedly. What could be more scarier than that? That's like my music or my paintings, that canvas jumping up and attacking me. That's exactly what our art form was created to be. Gotta rap about that. Here it go. Hip hop was in the streets, not industry. It was raw, rough, rugged, it was gritty. Hip hop shed light on things that wasn't mainstream, but not every picture that it paint was pretty. Hip hop wasn't expressing the things that we've been suppressing, and now we the people finally had a voice. Music is so powerful, but we don't tap into that no more. And now the same art form we created now exploits us. All right, so I am here about to finish up the small series that I was doing about hip hop and its positive origins. It was organically just a topic that came to me because everything that happens actually is for purpose. It came to me from my little nephew, and he was asking me, should he get this D-roll chain? Guess the chains are coming back into style. When I seen that, I was taken aback because around that time is when music started to take that turn. Like, you know how a cruise ship, they say if you fall off, baby, most likely you ain't finna get allegedly found because it's hard for that. And make sure you try to get way out away from the ship. But the ship can't really just turn around like that, right? So it takes time. So that big old huge great massive work of art that was created, hip hop, that was enlightening the youth, that was starting to get the street kids to actually do something constructive with their time, right? It took a minute to start to turn that ship around. So it wasn't like a flip of a switch like that, where it went from positive to boom, it's negative. It was a gradual, and it was a manipulation. I say man, man, manipulated it, allegedly, of our art form to become negative, right? So that really just marks the point of that turning for me, right? I grew up a hip hop kid. Hip hop, actually, art itself is what got me through so much, which, a lot of people do say you have everything that you need inside of you to get through, almost like Moses, what's in your hand? Girl, what's in your hand? And for me, the only thing that I had in my hand was art and creativity. And it has gotten me through it. As I look back over my life, it has gotten me through all of my situations. It is what got me through my bullying, art. When I was bullied in middle school, all through middle school and the first part of high school, art got me through that. What is got me thus far through my husband's wrongful incarceration, art. But it's that gift that comes from God. So it's the most high, but he gave me that gift to get me through, right? Your gifts make room for you. If I was not creating, and I just think about it, if I was not creating for these 24 years that my husband's been wrongfully incarcerated, I don't think I would have been able to do that much time with him like that. This sentence would have gotten the best of us, of me at least. I mean, he really has no choice. Well, he got choices. He could choose to fight or not, right? But for me, I had a choice. I could have left or I could have stayed, right? But I don't think I would have made it this far if it wasn't that creative outlet that wasn't really afforded to me, but I was trying to figure me out a way, right? And that is kind of that's very similar to what the kids in hip hop, it was the young men. And remember back then, our leaders were young and they were trying to do something that was fun, that was a way to express, right? Being an artist without an outlet, your art doesn't take off. It doesn't move. It doesn't move beyond. Like I can have all the great art, but I don't have a platform. I don't have a voice. So how do you move your art career forward? It just doesn't. It becomes something that you do, and you got to find an alternative route to take care of yourself. That's where I'm on the alternative route because my art is just not, you know, I'm not making a living off of it, right? So for those kids that did not have that outlet, to have an outlet now to creatively express themselves, right? And it's uplifting their communities. That's what hip hop was in that 70s, 80s era. And in the towards the end of the 80s is when you're starting, and then definitely by the beginning of the 90s is where you're starting to see that ship turn around, right? It's trying to make that long, difficult turn, but it's turning, right? So my hands going to bed. Got carpal tunnel, and I was working yesterday doing the dishes, so now I feel it today. Another reason I would rather get off this work shift. And got paid and broke again, girl. Like I just got paid. Ain't even Friday night. And I'm going to bed. Ain't got girl. Still trying to figure out how I'm gonna get through this week. That's crazy. Working to live, living to work. Hustling hard till it hurts. Working my fingers down to the bone. And once I pay my bills, I ain't got nothing to come home with. Girl. And like them arts, just like that. I feel that feeling like, oh, I'm just over this. And instead of talking, because when I talk, people are like, well, you're just complaining. Stop complaining. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and try harder. If you didn't make it, it's because of you. It's something you didn't do. Right? So instead of all that talking, write a verse. And you could synopsize your feelings within a few bars, right? You could write a poem, you could write a verse, and it says exactly, it embodies exactly how you feel. You know how I feel when it's almost time to hit that clock. You wouldn't even sit here for me to explain to you how I feel, but you'll listen to my verse. I plug my little verse in there, right? Now you know how I feel about working for nothing. So that's what hip hop was giving the youth, right? So in comes 90s, early 90s. During this time, you had your selection of hip hop. You can choose what type of hip hop you into. Because hip hop wasn't just, well, then they kind of started calling it rap music. But you can choose. So hip hop kind of referred to the earlier style, but then in comes rap. But it's all kind of intertwined, right? So you had fun, hip hop, rap, like House Party, that was Kid and Play. All that was fun music. That was dancing. Let's get it in. That shoot, dancing is exercising. Maybe that's why we were smaller back then than we are now. Well, one of the contributing factors. We was at them house parties. Well, I was too young, but girl, House Party 1 and 3, girl, I watched that on the daily, and I could watch it today and laugh through the whole movie. So I was up in there, ain't gonna hurt nobody, up in my living room. Yes. So you have fun music. Even fun is keeping the kids out the streets, right? You still had people that were making music with messages. You had Nas still making music. I don't know what year that was, but Nas made that I know I can be what I want to be. If I work hard at it, I'll be where I want to be. Be, boys and girls. Yes. I think that was more mid 90s, right? But you still had Nas out there. You had the lyricists that were trying to get they lyrics together. This was artistry, and that's what I started seeing in the early 2000 when it started shifting. People were no longer putting them lyrics together that make you, but oh, like what? You used to be taken aback by, oh, he said, oh. Like one of my spots that I got that reaction when I did was I remember you from years ago when you ain't had no heart. Where you still ain't got no heart. It's just your friends done gassed you. They got you jumping like a pit bull when you're really just a pup. You're just a pup. And when I said that back then, without the mistakes, girl, because I don't even practice my verses no more. But when I said that, they were like, "Oh, girl," or with that super rapping woman. That was my go-to verse when people was like, "You rap? Let me hear something." And when I said that verse, they was like, "Oh," that's that reaction. You don't get that in hip hop no more. But let me hit that one. Assessing this all right behind using that to sell. I'm banking on the fact that my rhymes are hot as hell. I'm headed for the #1 spot. Get out my way. It's that super rapping woman headed for the top, up and away to rap. Game is my weapon. Fire lyrics is my cap. I'm suited up. Competition coming, get blown away. If the tank ain't big enough, one fish gon' eat the other. I hunger for this game and I'm ready to eat. I'm tired for supper. They're like, oh, I got that reaction that, oh, that's what you were waiting on, boy. You were writing in your little composition book, rhyme after rhyme, fill my composition book. Matter of fact, let's take a journey back through time, through my eyes, take a look, girl. That composition book. Yes. Yes. The little edges are like raveled up because you've been writing in it. Yes. Oh my gosh. And you waiting, you like, oh, I know this line right here. When they hear this line right here, boy, it's not even that no more. Oh, but hip hop, the early 90s is when I fell in love with hip hop. And then you had Ice Cube. Oh, still one of my favorite of all time. Anytime there's karaoke, I'm seeing do they have that song. That is my song. That I think that the little girl come in, she had that was it cross colors or carcanine? One of them, the little blocked colored suits we used to wear. Oh man, with the jumpsuit, it was the pants and it was the shirt, and she come walking in. She had her little hair slick back in a little ponytail, and then you hear this. Wait, was it? I think that was Ice Cube, or it could be. I don't know which video I'm explaining. It could be that 1, 2, 3 into the four. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance. So back on up. Give me the microphone first so I could bust like a bubble. Compton and Long Beach together. Now you know you got trouble. It ain't nothing but a G thing, baby. I don't know if it was that one or was it and just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kinda odd. There's no barking from the dog, here's no smoke. My mama cooking breakfast with no hog. I got my grub on, I didn't pig out. Finally got a call from a brother, wanna dig out. Hooked it up for later as I hit the door, thinking will I left another 24. I gotta go cause I got me a drop top, and if I hit the switch, I can make the air drop. Had to stop, had a red light, looking in the mirror, now the jacker in sight, and everything is alright. I got a beat from him, and he could all night. Call up the homies and I'm asking y'all, which court are y'all playing basketball? They get me on the court and I'm trouble. Last week I messed around, I got a triple double. Girl, that was and I was a little girl. I couldn't wait to get home. You know, I was bullied too, right? So there was no outlet. I couldn't wait to get home from school. School was like, they make me go to school today. I had to keep drawing and drawing and drawing. As long as I kept drawing. They were not bullying me. They was gathering around me, watching me draw. But as soon as I put that pencil down, they were calling me Scarface again, right? So had to hurry up and get out of school. I had to hide myself, make myself as small as I can on the school bus. Please, 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 don't pick on me, please, please. And I get home. And guess what's on? Yo, MTV Raps and Rap City in the basement with Tigger, my ninja. Yes, girl. And I was like, yes, hip hop. I loved hip hop so much. And I just would sit there and I learned every single word to every single song. I was the lyricist for real. I knew everybody's songs. And it made me feel like, dang, like that Nate Dogg and Warren G had to regulate. I loved Warren G. I love Snoop Dogg. I loved Ice Cube. I remember Ice Cube video Bop Gun. I had the same blocked shirt that he had. It was, they usually wear those little line shirts. I don't know what you call them, but this one had some long, thick lines, and it was colored. Man, I had that same shirt. When I found that shirt, I'm like, yes, and I couldn't wait to wear it to school because I'm like, that's that same shirt that Ice Cube wore and Bob got. Yeah, girl, that Who's Scarface now? Who you gonna make fun of now? Girl, hip hop. That's what hip hop gave me. Ah, it gave me an identity. And what's crazy, this is around the time that, remember, I told you I grew up in an all YT town and went to an all YT school. I was the only BLK girl. The only. The other student that was in the school was my cousin, but he was older. So at a point, he left the school. So then it was only one BLK boy named Michael, which ended up, ironically, he ended up being a rapper as well, right? And it was me. So there was one BLK girl, one BLK boy. And I went through some stuff being the only BLK girl in the school. And it was confusing too. I'm like, well, so they picking on me because I'm different. And I don't know how to, like, it was crazy, right? And back then I was into skateboarding. I was into rock and roll because I grew up here in Florida. There were not even any urban radio stations at all. There was nothing. Even my neighborhood, we had watermelon patches behind the house. So after the second house by us, we would go back in the sand hills and pick watermelons. They were never big enough to eat or whatever, so we'll pick them and just play with them and throw them and this and that. But dirt roads surrounded our area. It was nothing. And I was the only BLK girl. So I didn't see people that looked like me. I didn't hear music that so that was done by people that look like me. None of that. So my favorite was that, oh, living on a prayer. Take my hand and we'll make it, I swear. Me and my sister love Bon Jovi. Oh, we were so in love with John Bon Jovi, I'm telling you. And New Kids on the Block that, I remember one time, it was so funny. I got off the school bus. This is when I was in elementary, the only BLK girl, right? And that's when Kid and Play came out. I got off that bus and I hit that Kid and Play. I was on the Kid and Play. I don't know what made me do that. I just got off the bus and started doing the Kid and Play, right? And they were like, oh, she can dance. I must have looked so crazy, but girl, it started giving me identity, right? And it started making me feel like, oh wow, these are people that look like me. Then here comes middle school where I am taken out of my mother's like, okay, well, you may not be doing so well in an all YT school. Let's go on and put you in this middle school where it was all BLK. And they threw me back about that tank real quick. They're like, what this girl, what is this? Bon Jovi? Like what? Girl, get up out of here. And then to make it worse, the worse, I made my own skateboard. I got this in my Draw My Life and my little autobiography that I was working on years back. I wrote like the first two chapters, but I did write about this where I made my own skateboard because, of course, I could never afford one. Well, my mama and them, they were well to do, they were decent, but my mama did not because she came from the ghettos and knew how it was. She did not waste no money. Like, we still live like we were broke, even though we were really like broke, but see, I'm broke now. I'm going to bed. Made my own skateboard by tying some skates to a wagon. And I was up there pushing my sister in it. The wheel of the skate gets stuck in a crack, and I go flying over my sister's head and skid across the concrete. Skid almost like the whole side of my face. I knocked my teeth out. I got the scar still. You can see all that. But it was horrible back then. I got the scars on my hand. That reminds me, yeah, girl, you used to be Scarface. And then my chest was scarred there. It was so bad that they said they had to treat me as a burn victim. So coming back to school, thinking I'm finna fit in because I'm not the only BLK girl, I still didn't fit in because now I'm Scarface. So getting off that bus and then getting home and turning on Rap City and turning on Yo MTV Raps. And there's this art form, this new music that's new to me. I know they had the backdrop in the 80s and all of that, but I was out in the South. Like, girl, we didn't even have our first R&B station until it was probably in maybe the early 90s. But I don't even remember. I don't think we got it. I don't even think they put it out here like that. But the first station was 102 Jams and then Star 94.5. I don't know how many more years later that came, but that was like older school, music, no rap, right? So 102 Jams would have been my first hearing hip hop. And when I heard that, look, no, you know where I really, 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 really just fell in love with hip hop. Y'all might laugh. It was Crisscross. They were so cute. I was around the age of them. I was like maybe a year or so younger than them. And Crisscross was so cute, girl. I'm like, oh my gosh. I used to pray that I would run into them in Winn Dixie, girl. Why would I pray something like that? That was crazy. But like that was the only time we really got to go out when we went to Winn Dixie to go shopping with Mama in the morning. Girl, Saturday morning, you go shopping. Yes. So I was hoping that I would go and run into them. I would run to the magazine area. They had Word Up magazine, Right On magazine. Yes, Black Beat. That's when you buy. I used to save my lunch money. Girl, I got $2 a day to eat at the snack bar. Oh, I used to envy the kids that used to get the free lunch because the free lunch used to look so good to me. But I couldn't get free lunch because that's that thing where they say you make too much to be broke. They claim you make too much, but my mother really didn't. They didn't have that much money, but they alleged it's too much for. So I had my $2 that I would either go to the snack bar and then this is a side note, which I probably should do in a whole nother video, which I will. But I used to give one of my $2 to this girl every day. And it was because she did not have. So I started that as a child. I could not understand why she couldn't eat at the snack bar with me. So every day I gave her one of my $2. So out of the rest of my lunch money, I would save it to get whatever. So that means I was skipping lunches, girl, to get my Word Up magazine, my Black Beat, and my Right On. And in the magazine, you could read articles about these artists that you watch on your MTV Raps and on Rap City. And you could, oh my gosh, my walls had all the different had all the different famous people plastered all over the walls. And then my favorite rappers I would draw. I did that in that one rhyme that actually, reflected that. So like I said, I can capture the essence in a verse better than just telling you. But I would draw every single like image that I loved in there. And that's how I feel my school day. Girl, I wasn't good in nothing in school except for English, writing, and that was about it. Oh, I think I did good in PE because we used to play Foursquare. But other than that, I was not good in nothing. Band, I was last clarinet. Me and Stevon would go back and forth for who's gonna be second to last girl. But rhyme, wait, hold on. Rhyme after rhyme, fill my composition book. Matter of fact, no, no, what's the one that say this the 90s type of feel it flow? Back when a rhyme was a rhyme, not every girl was a hoe. Songs consist of bars, punchlines, and metaphors. And for an MC to even embrace the mic, he had to be dope. See, I was just a little shorty saving all my lunch money cheese so I could buy the latest edition of Right On, Word Up, and Black Beat, tearing out the pictures, hanging them all up on my wall. And I was nice with the pencil. My favorite rappers I would draw. Days at the school spent watching rap, said that admiring the styles and the flows. I knew one day that that could be me. Rhyme after rhyme, fill my composition book. Matter of fact, let's take a journey back to time through my eyes. Take a look. Hip hop was amazing, not too much mainstream. Drum supplied the beat, all the lyrics they were blazing. Yeah, it's your girl Cadillac. Now you see how I told you the story? But then I told you the story again through lyrics. Girl, that is hip hop. Oh, and what it's done for me, like literally, it became my shield. Just like that one I told you, I'm the super rapping woman. I ended up making a comic book character later out of that super rapping woman. I'm faster than the speed of sound, right? And super rapping woman coming to put them bars and free my husband, right, from his wrongful conviction through music. Because it's not just music, it's the movement. But yeah, dang, it's crazy thinking back to that time. But anyways, what made me really fall in love with hip hop initially was Crisscross. And then I got into the Kid and Play, which house party, because I was like, dang, they look like an older Crisscross. And then from there, Snoop Dogg came out. Oh my gosh, like for real, that 1, 2, 3 into the four. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance. So back on. Yes! And I told y'all I would tell y'all my first verse. Okay. So y'all know we from Chicago, so we would go back every year to visit. And I remember going back and I had my little composition book, right? Now they didn't have BET, so they didn't have the basement with they had what was that? What was that? The box. The box is what they yeah. When you would, I don't know how you did it, but somehow you requested the songs. I can't even remember. But my grandmama and them, they had the box. And then that's when I met my little cousin Phil, the bad guy. Yes. That's my little cousin Mike. They was all still in Chicago. So couldn't wait to visit. So we'd be watching the box and Thuggish Ruggish Boom. Mm. That's the thuggish ruggish bone. That's when you feeling the strength of the yeah, girl, I can't even get they were going too fast, right? Bone Thugs and Harmony. You had Twister. Do you wanna ride in the backseat of my caddy? Chop it up. Yeah, girl. Whoa. Oh my gosh. And I was like, yes, I want to be I'm gonna be a rapper. Now, mind you, rapping was not to be a rapper was not the aspiration of most females at all. It was very much a male dominated thing. But I just was so in love with the craft that I was like, I know I could do. And I was a tomboy anyway, right? I was trying to prove I was faster than I could climb this tree faster than you. I could run faster than even me and Marcello. When I first met him, I was racing that boy and showing him how I could run faster than him. But I think it's that tomboy in me that got me like because I'm just not that feminine female. You know, I'm not. I'm rough. I'm tough. That's why I'm Scarface was all falling on my face, doing some crazy stuff. It was not. I didn't do the girly type stuff. So I was attracted to hip hop. I don't know. It was rugged, and I was a rugged female, which is crazy. But I was trying to run faster than Martin, and I think I beat him. Do you remember that time we were racing in the streets, Martin? And I beat you, and then oh no, I don't remember that, Keita. Yeah, you remember. You remember I beat you. Yes, but uh that was such a good. And then Tupac, man, first came out with Brenda's Got a Baby. A dang shame. Brenda barely know her name. Yes, did you know that she got a baby? Did you? Then I seen him on in our TV program that was geared towards African American or BLK or whatever we're labeled today, was much more positive. We had BET, had Teen Summit, some of the early like cutting edge knowledge was dropped on Teen Summit. That's where I first learned about entrepreneurship. I had never heard that term used before in life, but I heard it on Teen Summit. And I was like, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. From then, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. That's why this workshop thing just ain't working for me, because I was not made to be a work shipper. But then he came out with Dear Mama. Let me tell you about Dear Mama. My cuz, Phil the Bad Guy, one of the best rappers ever. And you know how Chicago rappers are. You really can't too much touch them. Like, the Brat was my favorite MC, girl. And I had to look, trying to be like her too, girl. But you couldn't touch no Chicago rapper. Not with the style, not with the speed, not with the, you couldn't, right? So he was he battle rapped. Yeah, he was good. I think what they called him, Shorty Renegade back then. He was, oh my, good ain't even, he was it. He was it. And him, and then I remember my cousin Rusty. They were trying to see who could grow their rat tail the longest, the fastest. So I'm trying to compete with them. I'm coming from Florida. This is my little Florida cousin, and we know she can't hardly rap because. But when Dear Mama came on, that one summer, they let Phil. Sorry, put your whole name out there. But I guess you could have figured that out. They let him come down here and stay with me for the summer. That's when we started that Cousins in Crime stuff. Crime spree. Cousins in Crime. Where I said, thank God that it is only grace of God that I did not, end up getting a record and being in jail myself. I have no record, but it's only the grace of God. It's not because I'm too good, like most people try to say, oh, just don't commit crimes if I didn't, you. No, baby, it's a lot of things that entail that. And it's a lot of privileges. So be aware of your privilege. Just as I'm aware that I have a privilege to not have a record. That is very much a privilege, and I'm going to recognize that privilege, because if I did have a record, many of the things that are afforded to me would not be. But that's when he came down here. Cousins in Crime. But in much of our time, we'll listen to the radio, and when Dear Mama came on, I don't care what we were doing. It was silence. We would stop and drop whatever we were doing. And we literally would listen to the song and say every word. We just sang along. And then when the song went off, we went back to whatever we were doing, whatever the cousins in crime were doing. And it was, as soon as you hear that, when I was young, me and my mother had beef, 17 years old, kicked out on the streets. Now back in the time, I never, girl, when you heard that, everything we doing just stopped. It was crazy. But that song has so, I'm getting chill bumps now. That song had so much weight. Wow. And I knew then Tupac, I love Tupac. Oh my God. Over all times, Tupac is gonna be my favorite rapper. Even though I love Biggie too, but Biggie didn't have that impact. No. It's always the debate when you get into the mid 90s, who was better, Biggie or Tupac? Tupac. There's no other Tupac. And his music is so relevant. From, he had street, he had political, he had everything. He was brilliant. It's hard to imagine that he was that young, because he was older than me back then. So he was 26 when he was unalive, right? So I probably was 15, 14, 15. But so I knew he was older. But when you get older than he is, now I'm 44 and I'm looking back like, dang, how someone that young had that much knowledge of of life, and their music can cross over time frames and generations. If you listen to other stuff, it's kind of dated, right? His music is not dated at all. How do you do that? That's a genius, to make music that cross over different, like any other music I listen to. My daughter, oh, that's lame. Oh, that's lame. My nephew, because now it's cool for them to go back and research the 90s. But my nephew, oh, that's lame. That's lame. Girl, Tupac, you don't hear that. His music has transcended his time, his life, and he knew that. If you listen to any of his interviews, oh my gosh. Right now I'm going back watching the Dear Mama documentary. It's a several part. But yeah, he genius. They deleted him, but they could not delete, just like Fred Hampton. You can delete the revolutionary, but you can't delete the revolution. You can't. So hip hop was nothing but positivity, and it was what got me through some rough times in my life. So I know if it did it for me, I know it did it for those street kids, the youth back in the 90s. They created something grand, right? And then we get towards the mid 90s when I started noticing, and I'm gonna stop soon because I'm getting long winded, but it just, that's why I said maybe this one I should try to do off the top of my head, even though I'm not as good of talking right off my head. Like, I'll go in circles and back. It's your girl Cadillac. Yeah, all over the place. That's that ADHD. But I knew I had to come from the heart with this one. But then in the mid 90s, you start seeing the music videos, like I said, the Rap City, the Basement. And it seemed like every music video I started realizing the scene was a prison cell. Like, okay, is that like the only location they can secure is the prison cell? But I'm like, okay, well, it's cool, girl, right? Even Ja Rule, his first video is prison cell. What would I be without my baby? The thought I love my baby. And then boy, he was sitting there, woo, 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 up in that prison cell. And girl. But why? Why was that the only thing marketed to us? or the majority of they marketed to us, or they had the street scene where the grimy streets, right? Where does hip hop stem from? They'll have that. Then they'll have a grave. There was so many grave settings. Like, so is this, I don't know. But looking back, I could see it was all marketing, allegedly. And this is where we're talking about the pivot. All right, I'm gonna stop right there. It's your girl Cadillac.